Greetings, fellow action figure connoisseurs, and welcome to another episode of Digital Caveman Presents Surprise Thursday. I, as always, am your host, the Digital Caveman, and today I will be presenting you with the Four Horsemen's Figura Obscura Sun Wukong, the Monkey King. Let's get into it! Let's begin with a look at the packaging, and I have to say this whole thing is covered with artwork, so that is cool. And then here we have a little window, but it's also the Four Horsemen's, logo going on there. We've got some nice scrolly stuff going on there. And then on the front, some nice foil art around Sun Wukong, and some foil here for his name as well, Sun Wukong. And then here's some Japanese, the Monkey King. And then here is the Four Horsemen's, is that their new logo? I don't know what's going on with that, but anyway, so that's Four Horsemen. I'm assuming maybe that's the Figura Obscura logo, I'm not sure. So here we've got Tiger Dude with a sword over here, and Figura Obscura in that nice foil looking print. It's not really foil, but that's the way it looks. And then here on the top, Four Horsemen in that foil looking art or deco. And then here we have the monkey's head and his crown again in that foil looking finish. On the bottom, small print, fine print, legalese print, sourcehorseman.com, sourcehorseman.com/figura-obscura, and storehorseman.com. Adult collectible print, made in China print, item number. Warning, don't stick things in your pie hole that do not belong there. Don't give it to babies. Four Horsemen stuff. Then on this side, we've got, again, Figura Obscura in that foil looking deco. And then here we've got some other dudes hanging out, and they're outlined in that gold foil looking deco as well, and they're kind of glossy, and this is kind of matte, so it's a very interesting finish or finishes on here. And then here is a bunch of text, so if you want to read this, I'm not going to try to read it all to you. Not because I don't want to, but it's just going to take too long. And so, pause it right here and read all that. Now, pause it right here and read all that. And now, pause it right here and read all that. As long as you can, if you want to. If you don't, then just let it keep running. And then here we have some small fine legalese print and the websites that I mentioned earlier. Now, one thing about this packaging is the outside layer is magnetic, and it opens up kind of like a book, and there's magnets on all sides, and it becomes a backdrop if you so choose to use it that way. And then here we have the internal packaging. It's got a nice big window on here showcasing accessories and the figure. And again, Sun Wukong and some Japanese, or maybe it's Chinese, I'm not sure. The Monkey King in that same foil looking finish. And then we've already looked at that. So this is a little different. Four Horsemen. And then here's a guy floating, and he's sending out whatever from his head. And again, he's got that gold foil looking finish around him, and he's that glossy finish with matte all around here. And then there's a horse with the gold around him, and those websites again. And again, the finish on the horse is glossy, where this is kind of matte. And so that's cool. And then here on the back, some more cool artwork, and we've got, you know, like smoke and a mountain here. Maybe this is a volcano of some kind, because it looks like lava flowing down and it's going off. And here's a dragon, and he's got that gold shiny deco around him, and there's all kinds of fire down here, and he's got that gloss finish, and it's matte all everywhere else. So you see how it kind of makes things stand out. So that's pretty cool. And that, my friends, does it for the packaging. And what fabulous packaging it is. Let's take a look at the figure and his accessories. And here we have handy dandy tweezers. And first up, we'll take a look at the two alternate sets of hands, in which you notice he has a set of C grips on him, but he comes with another set of C grips which have up and down hinge, and the ones on the figure are in and out hinge. But just look at the detail in that sculpt, and the wash, it just helps bring it right on out and kind of gives it a more realistic look. Just awesome. And same holds true for the opposite side hand. C grip, up and down hinge, excellent sculpt and paint wash. And it also holds true for the next two hands, except they're not C grip and they are in and out hinged, but they're like the grasping hands, the reaching hands. And again, great molded detail and paint wash. Fantaculous. Just very cool. Now let's take a look at his staff and look at the detail in there in that nice gold paint. And this part, I'm not sure if it's painted or if it's molded in this color, but even that, it's got a little bit of paint smudge on it. And the other end appears to be exactly like the first end we looked at. Not a whole lot of details going on the shaft part, but it's just a straight pull. But I take that back. Now you can see a little bit of details in there, like maybe they are Chinese characters. So none on this end, just on this end. So this end must be the top. So that's cool. Then we have a gourd here, which is a water jug, according to Big Bad Toy Store, which is not where I got this. I did get this at Joe Fest 2024 at the Four Horsemen's booth, or the Four Horsemen booth. And you can see it's got, I think it's a maybe molded in this plastic, and then everything else is a paint app. And you can see it's even got an overspray or wash on it in this area. So very realistic looking paint. Now something, at least to me, that's not very realistic looking is this is listed as a peach. And while it does have, you know, some peach features to it, this may be some sort of Chinese peach. I've never seen a peach this color or this large in comparison with what it's, you know, it's packed with. So, or maybe it's a God's peach, or I don't know, but look at the booty. on that peach, and it's very nice. And you can tell it's got some paint fade toward the end here. Starts about right here and goes on down. Very nice. This may, I'm not sure if this is part of the mold or if this is something that's glued on, but it's flexible. I do believe it's a separate piece glued on there. So overall, doesn't really look like a peach that I'm familiar with, but again, maybe it's some kind of Chinese peach or super peach or God's peach or something like that. I don't know. And then here we have one of the scrolls, not to be confused with scrolls from Marvel Comics. This does not change shape. But just look at all that nice molded detail and the paint apps on it. I don't think there's an inch of this thing that is not covered with paint. And it looks like it's got a bit of a wash to it as well. So very, very nice. And then here's the other scroll. Scroll. S-C-R-O-L-L. And looks like it's got some paint here on the end, or maybe it's molded all in this. And then everything else is a paint out. I'm not sure exactly how that works. But look at the molded detail in there, and it looks like it's got a bit of a wash there on the tassels as well. And on the rest of it too. And look at that nice detail here. So just great looking. Next up we have the alternate pairs of feet, or the shoed feet. And they're on up and down hinges. And maybe I can pop these out, or pop these in when we get through looking at the figure, and we'll look at the articulation on them. But it does go up and down. And it does have a pin in there for a rocker, but it's hard to do it with, you know, not being in the leg. But I mean, just look at the sculpted detail in there and the paint apps, and even on the bottom, they even put paint on the bottom of his shoes. So just fantastic. And yes, you might say, well, you paid a fantastic price for that. Yeah, I paid more than what I normally pay for an action figure for this. But it's worth it. Just the amount of accessories, the great paint and sculpt on it. And here's the alternate head. And of course, the faceplate is removable. And you can see it just plugs in there like that. So on this alternate head, I mean, it's the screaming fighting head, and just look at all that detail inside the mouth and paint, and it looks like maybe some wash, and just the fantastic sculpted details all around the face, the color on the eyes, and just in general the mold. And then he's wearing this little crown piece with the wings, and it's all painted gold, and then it has a wash on it to kind of weather it up or age it a bit, and it's just great. Now these two pieces are separate pieces, and you do have to heat this up in order to get these to go in and stay properly, and that's why I didn't show them separately, is because I went ahead and put those into place. So, but once you get them in there, you know, you can twist them around a little bit, and you know, it does have nice paint apps. It's got a nice, I'm not sure if this is wash or dry brush, but the way it gets down into the details, I'm assuming it's a wash, but they did it very selectively as stripes on these feathers. And it's just very, very good looking. Now let's get into the nitty gritty of the figure himself. And oops, you know what? I forgot 2 accessories, so get back, Sun Wukong. And here's the alternate heads that look more, I don't know, maybe they're like war paint heads, but it looks more baboonish in color to me, but very, very nice nonetheless. And the eyes, and just great. And then here is the other alternate faceplate, and again, same with the paint apps. I mean, it's great. It's awesome. He's ready to. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty of the figure himself. And it's hard to know where to start, so I guess we'll just start at the top. And you can see he's got this little band crowned here with a nice gold paint app, and there appears to be a slight wash here on the head and the face, and everything I said about the other face sculpts holds true for this. I mean, especially those eyes are just, they're looking right at you. And so very, very nice. And again, you know, the face plates just pop off and pop on, so you can swap them out pretty easily. And we've got this soft goods piece right here that is a wired piece. It does have wire in it, so that it is somewhat posable. I won't say it's greatly posable, but it's somewhat posable. So that's really good. And then we've got this separate overlay piece. This can come off. It's not attached, but it's got nice paint apps on these beads, and you can see, I mean, there's just all kinds of colors going on his armor here and on the arms, and just look at that design and the paint apps, and it's got a bit of a wash on it, and it's just, it's great. And of course it doesn't, I mean, here it goes all the way around, and here it goes all the way around, but right here on the back it doesn't. Now these pieces, just like Mythic Legions, these pieces are removable and they are optional, and they do move somewhat, so they may hinder articulation a bit when they're on there. And then this looks, I mean, this whole armor piece looks like it's an overlay of some kind. I don't know if it comes off, but, and just look at that, wow. Chinese dragon with big earrings that this soft goods belt is wired through, or I guess it's a belt, scarf, drape, I don't know. But it is also wired for posability. And then we've got, look at all that. I mean, just great, great paint apps. And again, what I said about the hands earlier still hold true for these as well, except they're in and out C-grip hands. And then just look at all this, and again, it goes all the way around. Just, it's a little mind-boggling. And then here we've got this piece, and look at the nice colors and the sculpt and the wash on that as well. And then the legs, he's wearing pants, and they're textured. Oh, and this soft goods piece, this is wired. This is a soft goods piece, it's wired. So just awesome. And then his armor here for his shins and his knees, just look at the detail in that sculpt, and the paint apps and the wash, and just, I know I'm saying this over and over and over, but I mean, just really, really, it is fantastic. And then the sculpt here and the wash for the feet, and everything about the feet pretty much holds true for the hands as well. And then the final piece I want to talk about is the tail, and you do have to heat the figure up to get the tail to plug in, just like the feathers on the alternate head. And it doesn't just stay like this. Now, it doesn't twist or turn or anything like that. There's a little bit of movement in there where maybe it's not as tight as it could be, but it's bendy wire in the tail, so it is somewhat posable as well. So You know, they paid a lot of attention to not just the detail of the sculpt, but the way this figure works, I think. So let's take a look at his articulation. He looks up that high. He looks straight ahead just about. Let's see, he's got no chicken neck. He's got some waggle. Whew, his face pops off when he tries to do the exorcist, but let's fix that. So there you go. He can do the full exorcist. Now, let me see what we can do. I'll pop that off so we can get the full range of motion here out of the arm. So the arm does rotate a full 360 degrees, if begrudgingly. And the arm raises up, we'll go ahead and call that slightly better than 90 degrees. At the elbow, it's a single hinge and swivel, and it does swivel around 360 degrees under protest, I might add. And the elbow gives you approximately a 90-degree bend. Now here where the bracer is a separate piece, it feels like, and it does rotate 360 degrees, as well as here at the wrist, a 360-degree rotation and in and out hinge. So that is great. Now you'll notice this armor piece does hinder the articulation a bit, so just be aware of that, especially rotation. Let's see, what's he got? Okay, so this piece comes up over the torso piece, so that's a separate piece in there, and it feels like it's on a ball joint, and it lets him lean back that far and forward that far. This dragon piece may be hindering that somewhat, so that's great. And then it does have a 360-degree rotation there as well, and it's not too difficult. Now the lower armor here is a bit flexible. It's very soft plastic, so I don't think it's going to hinder the articulation very much, and it doesn't. He gives you the full splits with no real issues, and there you can kind of see what's going on, how it's hinged in there, and you can see this is a separate piece from this as well. So he also, at the upper thigh, does have a rotation, and it may or may not go around 360 degrees. Mine is complaining, so I'm not going to try to do it, but it does give you some twist in there should you need it. For posing in there, I just popped the leg right on out because I'm awesome like that, but it just pops right back in there, and now the torso's falling apart. So let me fix this off camera. I'll be right back. Alright, so there we go. We got all that taken care of. And it's not that this is a brittle figure or anything like that. It just, I don't know, I happened to move it the wrong way or was holding it the wrong way. I don't know. So anyway, at the knee here, we do have a single hinge and swivel. It swivels on the bottom section, but it will not do a full 360 degrees, or at least I cannot get it to. And it gives you, we'll go ahead and call that, we'll go ahead and call that 90 degrees worth of bend there at the knee. And then here at the ankle, it does swivel around, tilts down that far, tilts up that far, and forward facing pin for rocker. Let me see if I can pop that out real quick, and we'll pop, I think this is the right foot. We'll pop this in real quick and take a look at the range of motion on it. There we go, popped it right in there. So that's cool. So of course it does spin around because of the way that it's pegged in, and then he gets that much tilt down, that much tilt up, and again a forward facing pin for rocker. And then of course we pop this back in, and just like Mythic Legions, it's got this port and post piece that just kind of connects in there. And there you have it, my friends, a look at the figure and his accessories. It's time for my favorite part of a review, comparisons. And here we have the Figura Obscura Sun Wukong, the Monkey King, with the old Toy Biz Lord of the Rings Gandalf the White, from Savage Crucible, the Lumerian Royal Guard, and from Mythic Legions, Thrace Wraithhaler. For our final set of comparisons, here we have the Figura Obscura Sun Wukong, the Monkey King, with from the Marvel Legends series, making his cameo appearance, Stan the Man Lee, from the G.I. Joe Classified series, the Hasbro Pulse exclusive Regal variant Cobra Commander, from Star Wars The Black series, the Archive Edition 501st Legion Clone Trooper, and for a 7-inch scale comparison from the Masters of the Universe Masterverse line, the 40th Anniversary He-Man. For final thoughts on the Four Horsemen's Figura Obscura Sun Wukong, the Monkey King, I know I'm probably a little late getting on board with this figure. It made a lot of lists last year, and I don't know, I saw it at Joe Fest. My wife saw it. She fell in love with it. She thought it was a fantastic figure, and after having a look at it, I cannot disparage that opinion, because this is a fantastic figure and it is worthy of all the praise that it has received. The deco, the sculpt, you know, it's up to the usual standards of what at least I've been exposed to from the Four Horsemen's, you know, offerings that weren't for other companies, the offerings that they've done for themselves. And I love it. Even the little scarf piece around his neck is a wired soft goods piece. The I'm not sure exactly what the piece is that goes around or through the loops on the belt. Maybe it's some kind of belt, but it's a wired soft goods piece that's posable as well. And little flourishes like that I really enjoy in a line. And the only, I don't necessarily want to say it's an issue. I guess it can be an issue, but from time to time when posing his tail, it will pop out. It pops into the figure via a ball joint, and sometimes when you're posing it, it's made of bendy wire on the inside of it, you know. So it's like those old bendy figures, and so when you're bending the wire up, sometimes it will pop out, unless you put your thumb over the base of it and hold it steady while you're doing it, if you remember to do that. And just overall super marks on this figure. The deco is fantastic. The sculpt is great. The faceplate options, the fact that you get, you know, the option between the plain ones like this, a neutral and a screaming. You also get those options in a war painted face, I guess. I like to call it the baboon face because it reminds me of a baboon. And so I enjoy those options. I like this face on it the best, I think, unless you're doing an action pose with it, and then maybe one of the screaming or open mouth faces, you know, work better with that. But just it is a fantastic figure. And if you're thinking about giving Figura Obscura a try, or dip your toes into the line, or kick the tires on the line, whatever you want to call it, you know, this is not a bad figure to start off with. In fact, this is my first Figura Obscura figure, and I really like it. And I'm thinking about picking up the Headless Horseman as well. Just, that's a great looking figure as well. And, you know, if the quality and the paint and the sculpt and everything holds up to what I'm now expecting from Four Horsemen, then it's guaranteed not to disappoint. Much like this figure, there is nothing about this figure that I'm disappointed in. And again, just, you know, something to be aware of is the tail. And I don't really want to say it's an issue. Maybe it is an issue, but, you know, just, it's something to be aware of, that when you're articulating the tail, just kind of hold on to the base of it. And that may just be my copy. It might not be everyone's experience with this figure. But, you know, it's a great figure. I can't speak highly enough about this guy. It's just, it's blown my mind between this and the Mythic Legions and Savage Crucible. It just, again, it just blows my mind when I compare it to some of the other lines that I've been collecting over the years. But that's enough of me rambling on. Very high marks for this figure. It's a fantastic figure. I don't think you'll be disappointed if you decide to pick it up. Well, that does it for the review. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it. Only support from viewers like you make this programming possible. Each view does count, and I do appreciate each and every single view that I receive. Thank you, and thank you so very, very much for supporting this channel through viewing. If you are interested in supporting my channel further, I am now offering memberships at various tiers. Click the join button on my YouTube page, or check this video's description for the link and see if any membership offers are right for you, but only if you are in a position to do so. Comment below, like, share, subscribe if you would like to see more content or just help the channel grow, or both, that's even better. And don't forget to ding that bell so that in the future you will be notified as my new content becomes available. That's a wrap, folks. I'll see you next time.